Britain and France were fighting a big war in Europe. This war affected America too. Both countries tried to stop American ships. They did not want America trading with their enemy. This hurt American businesses very much. Farmers could not sell their goods easily. Merchants lost money. Americans believed they had the right to trade freely with any country. This interference was a major reason for the War of 1812. It felt like disrespect to the young nation, and people grew tired of it. The British Navy was the most powerful in the world. They always needed more sailors for their many warships. So, British ships often stopped American merchant vessels. They would search the American ships. Then, they would take sailors off these ships. They claimed these sailors were British citizens who had deserted. This practice was called impressment. Americans were very angry about this. It felt like kidnapping to them, a clear violation of American sovereignty and the rights of its citizens at sea. In North America, Britain still held territory in Canada. They also had influence with Native American tribes. Many Native American groups were resisting American settlers. These settlers were moving west into new lands. Britain provided some support to these tribes. They gave them weapons and other supplies. This made the frontier a more dangerous place for Americans. Many Americans believed Britain was trying to stop their country from growing larger. This support for Native resistance was a key grievance that fueled the call for war. Besides these issues, some Americans had a strong desire for expansion. They wanted the United States to become bigger. They looked north to Canada, which was a British colony. Some thought America could conquer Canada. Others looked south to Florida, then controlled by Spain, an ally of Britain. The idea of adding more territory was appealing to many influential people. This war hawk spirit, prominent in Congress, pushed the nation towards conflict. It was seen by some as an opportunity to claim more land and secure the nation's borders. New Orleans was a very special and important city. It was located right at the bottom of the Mississippi River, near where it flowed into the Gulf of Mexico. This river was like a giant road for boats. Farmers in the West, in places like Kentucky and Tennessee, used this river. They sent their crops such as cotton, tobacco, and grain down the river on flatboats and keelboats. These goods all went to New Orleans first. From this busy port city, the goods could be loaded onto bigger ocean-going ships. Then they could be sent to other parts of America or across the ocean to Europe and beyond. Controlling New Orleans meant controlling the Mississippi River. If a country controlled the river, it controlled a huge amount of American trade. This was especially true for the new states and territories in the American West. All their agricultural products and other goods had to go through New Orleans to reach larger markets. If they could not use the port, their farms and businesses would suffer greatly. The entire economy of that vast region depended on free access to this port. So, New Orleans was absolutely essential for America's economic prosperity and its future growth as a nation. It was a vital lifeline. The British military leaders understood this strategic importance very well. They knew how valuable New Orleans was to the United States. They thought that if they could capture New Orleans, it would be a big blow to America. It could potentially stop Americans from moving further west. It might even disrupt the unity of the young country. Capturing the city would also give Britain control over the rich agricultural lands of the Mississippi Valley. This would make Britain much stronger in North America and could change the balance of power. It was a key strategic target for them in the war. For the United States, keeping New Orleans was extremely important. It was about making sure their economy could continue to grow. It was about protecting their access to world markets for their agricultural surplus. The city represented American independence and the ability to trade freely without foreign interference. Losing New Orleans would have been a devastating disaster for the young nation. It would mean that other countries could potentially control their trade and limit their expansion. The fight for New Orleans was therefore a fight for America's future success and sovereignty. Both sides knew the stakes were incredibly high. The British had a clear plan to take New Orleans. They sent a large force of well-trained soldiers, numbering over 8,000 men. Many of these soldiers were veterans who had fought against Napoleon in Europe. Their commander was General Sir Edward Pakenham, an experienced and respected officer. The plan was to land their troops near the city, likely via Lake Bourne. Then they would march quickly and attack the American defenses. The British were very confident in their abilities. They expected an easy victory because their army was disciplined and professional. They did not think the American militia could effectively stop them. General Andrew Jackson was the American commander. He was in charge of defending New Orleans. His army was very different from the British one. It was a diverse collection of fighters. It was made up of many different kinds of people, united by a common cause. There were some regular U.S. Army soldiers. There were also many militia volunteers from states like Tennessee, Kentucky, and Louisiana. Local citizens from New Orleans, including Creoles and free men of color, joined too. Even a group of Baratarian pirates led by Jean Lafitte offered to help, providing men and vital artillery. Choctaw Native American warriors also fought bravely alongside Jackson's forces. Jackson was a smart and determined general. He chose a good place to defend the city from the main British advance. He positioned his main line of defense behind a wide, dry canal known as the Rodriguez Canal. The land in front of it was a flat, open plain, offering little cover for attackers. This position was strategically flanked by the Mississippi River on one side and an impassable cypress swamp on the other. This geography made it very difficult for the British to maneuver or outflank the American line. The Americans worked tirelessly to dig deep trenches and build up high walls of earth and wood called ramparts to protect themselves. The main British attack came early in the morning on January 8, 1815. It was a very foggy morning, which initially provided some cover for the advancing British columns. This fog, however, also caused confusion among the British ranks and made coordination difficult. The American soldiers, well protected behind their strong defenses, waited patiently for the enemy. When the British troops advanced across the open field, the Americans opened fire with devastating effect. Their cannons, loaded with grape shot and accurate rifle fire, tore through the British lines. The British soldiers suffered terrible losses. Many were killed or wounded, including General Pakenham, who was fatally struck. The attack was a complete and bloody failure for the British. One very unusual fact about the Battle of New Orleans is its timing relative to the official end of the war. A peace treaty between America and Britain had actually already been signed. This was the Treaty of Ghent. It was signed by American and British diplomats in the city of Ghent in what is now Belgium on December 24, 1814. However, in those days news traveled very slowly across the vast Atlantic Ocean. There was no internet, no telegraph, and no steamships for fast communication. Sailing ships had to carry messages, and this journey took many weeks. So, nobody in New Orleans, neither the Americans nor the British, knew the war was officially over when the battle was fought. Even though the treaty was signed and the war technically concluded, the victory at New Orleans was incredibly important for Americans. The War of 1812 had been a difficult and often frustrating conflict for the United States. There had been some embarrassing defeats and setbacks. The British had even managed to capture and burn parts of Washington, D.C., the nation's capital. So, the stunning and decisive victory at New Orleans made Americans feel very proud. It was a great boost to national morale and self-esteem. It felt like they had finally won a major, clear-cut battle against the powerful British Empire, restoring national honor. General Andrew Jackson became a famous national hero because of his leadership in the battle. People all over the country admired his courage and his ability to lead such a diverse force to victory. They saw him as a tough, decisive, and patriotic commander who had saved the crucial city of New Orleans. This huge popularity helped him greatly in his future political career. He later became the 7th President of the United States, serving 2 terms. The Battle of New Orleans was the pivotal event that made him known to everyone in America. His nickname became Old Hickory because he was seen as strong and unbending like a hickory tree. The Battle of New Orleans left a lasting mark on American history and national identity. It created a new and powerful feeling of national pride and unity among Americans. People from different states and backgrounds had fought together successfully. This shared experience helped them feel more like one cohesive country, rather than just a collection of separate states. The battle also effectively ended any lingering British hopes of controlling the lower Mississippi River or challenging American sovereignty in that region. It is remembered as a symbol of American determination and resilience. It showed the world that the young United States was a strong nation, capable of defending its freedom and its land.